What is up, everyone? I think I mentioned I was pulling and working on a champion. Harkin the Great Blade. Probably War Maiden's older sister, looks like, or cousin. Look very similar. She's wearing a little bit more clothes. But I was able to pull, I think it was a 5 or 6 star soul ore on her. And I was humming and hawing whether I was going to build her or not. She's actually one of the hardest hitting champions in the game. Definitely, probably one of the top hard hitting epics in the game, if not one of the hardest hitting champions in the game. At least top 5, top 10. She hits like a truck. So, what are her skills? Why did I look at this character, this champion, so long ago? So, double hitter if you crit, which most likely you will. So there's a double hitter. She's void, so there's no weak affinity for her. So just build her with 100% crit rate, and you got a double hitter A1. A2, you have a weaken. It's a single hit, booked up to 100% chance to place a weaken for 2 turns before attacking. So by default, you're going to get that 25% bonus damage through the weaken that gets placed on them, and then she's going to get attacked. But this skill alone is a multiplier of 6.2 times her attack. So, one of the highest multipliers out there. It's a single hit, so it's not a double hit. When you're seeing 3 or 4 multipliers on a double hit, that's better than a single hit of 6. But, a very strong single target nuke. But really what happens here is, again, it's a single target. This nuke is about 5.5, so a little weaker than that A2. But she applies a debuff spread, taking 2 random debuffs from a target and putting them on all enemies. It also extends those debuffs by 2 turns. Champions that, like a Drexthar who places a burn, she can come in here and spread that burn to everybody else. Bombs, the more debuffs you have on a champion, the less effective this skill is. Book down to a 4-turn cooldown. She will spread 2 random debuffs. But if there's only 2, she's going to spread them both. And then she has a Doom Tower aura to increase attack. Now, she is a little squishy at 800 defense. It's very hard to keep her alive. I was actually using her a little bit in Doom Tower, so I would be spreading my debuffs amongst all the other heads, and that's where I was using her for. She is single target damage everywhere, but the debuff spread skill was beneficial in Hydra until I started bringing in other champions that can do AoE damage, at which point I didn't need to spread as much or worry as much. She pairs well with like a Ryan who buff strips, places the weaken on everybody. Cool. Has a backup revive on your team. Great. But also has an A1 block buffs that could then get spread amongst everybody. So you don't need to worry about an AoE block buffer if you don't have one. These 2 champions work great, and she's hard hitting. So I was using her for a bit. I wanted to do this video because there is a champion that just came out that places some debuffs on a single target that is pretty much a cheat code. And who am I talking about? Rhonda. And what does Rhonda do, and why is it so effective? No debuffs, but it's right here. So Rhonda cannot be resisted, place this block passive and block active skill. We then go into Harkin, who will then spread that. And now all of a sudden, you have block passive and active skills on everybody on the team. And the only person that can currently do that is Romantu. And to get Romantu is months long. And he only does an or, not an and, but an or. It's block active if they don't have passive, or block passive if they do have passive. But you don't get to block both. Okay? The other benefit to Romantu is he cleanses. So he'll cleanse all the buffs and then put up the block. So if you do have block debuffs up, then unfortunately Rhonda's not going to work. But there's only 2 champions with block passive skills in this game, and Rhonda's one of them, and she's free. So what does this actually look like? All right, so here we are. So this is just a quick showcase as to how it works. So we're going to use that A2 and put up the block passive and block active skills. She's in Relentless, so she was able to get an extra turn. And then we're going to go to Harkin's A3, which is the debuff. So we're going to target that one champion, and boom. Everyone now has block passive and block active skills on them. And the way Harkin works is she actually extends it by 2 turns on everybody else. So now everyone has a 4-turn block passive and active skill on them, except for the one champion that we've attacked, which is almost dead anyways, because, well, the 2 of them hit quite hard. So that is a little trick that you can use to really optimize. Yeah, it takes 2 champions, but we're meant to, nukes hard, cleanses debuffs, but does an or, not an and. So on a champion with a passive skill, like Iron Brago, you're also locking out any of these active skills. So in effect, anyone can only use their A1 here. Now, this can work on any champion, and I've tried this out already, but I figure you're going to ask, and I've tried this out, but I'm just going to show you. Does it work on Geo? So the way Geomancer's passive work is any champion that the burn was placed on by him will reflect. So that's how his passive works. So HP burn placed by this champion. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to place that burn. We're going to go ahead and spread that burn. Now, as you notice here, the burn is not an irresistible burn. So whereas Rhonda's passive or Rhonda's skill is irresistible, so we're able to spread buffs, and that's why it landed on everyone first try. Here, we're not able to land because Geo's burn is not irresistible. Okay? Regardless, what we're going to do is just attack some of these champions. We're going to just wait to take a hit. Of course. Okay. So there's the damage. We took a hit, and only that Brago died. No one else died on the team, even though that burn was spread over onto this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to try it again. We're going to place the burn on a second character. Champ, we just got nuked. Only the one champion took the damage. The other one's still full health. All right. So it does not work on Geo. Trust me, that's the first place I went when I was building her to try. So Thea is another one, another Doom Tower champion. Actually, very good champion here. This A1 here places the hex on 2 random allies. This debuff cannot be resisted. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead. We got him on 2. Then what we're doing is, get this, we're going to target one of these and spread it to everybody else and increase. Everybody now has 7 hexes on them because we've increased it by 2 turns, right? Except for the person that we've attacked. Increase the turn meter. Let's see what's going to happen here. Yeah, these characters are clearly not built for damage or to survive for that matter. But you get the idea. Thea, what she's then going to do is come in and she does more damage the more hexes out there. So the more ticks of hex you got out there, the bonus her damage becomes. And all of a sudden, she's nuking these things, if we can get a nuko, by 1 turn. Another one is Ellen Arl. So Ellen is probably one of the most wanted champions for wave clears. Rivals a seer. But when you get her key skill, and this was the one piece of it, of her kit that was always used originally before Calvalax era, was this irresistible A1 and was really helped to kill the Frost Spider, some of those Doom Tower waves, so that if we can get a HP burn that's irresistible. You're able to, clear those waves. Again, we're talking about an irresistible debuff here, where Harkin comes in, grabs it, spreads it, extends it, and now everyone has this irresistible burn on them for 4 turns, which pretty much means this debuff ain't landing. So this is the benefit of using, and as you saw with Geomancer, irresistible debuffs, I should say, can get spread very easily with no accuracy required out of Harkin. And now everyone's able to get that debuff. We're going to go with one more here. Skill I haven't tried yet, and I'm going to try here for first. And I was looking for one, but I don't think we have. So let's give this a try. I don't know if it's going to work or not. The one thing I haven't tried is if we can spread bombs onto other people. Unfortunately, Shazar bombs can be resisted, so I don't know if they're actually going to work. But it did work. All right. So now, although we have a 3-turn bomb here, we're able to spread those bombs on champions across other champions. So if for whatever reason down the road they come out with a bomb champion that is irresistible to bombs, then you might be able to spread them. So it is still a niche opportunity. It is still a very niche skill set. Any irresistible debuffs, however, can be spread without accuracy. You would need some kind of accuracy in order to spread resistible debuffs, which is most of them. There's only a handful of champions that are irresistible. The big one that just came out here, Rhonda, get that block passive and active for 2 turns, then spread them, and renders everyone pretty much useless. So let's jump into the arena quickly. We're going to go in here. They got some passive skills here. We got Brogni, who heals on his passive. We got Bogoth, who heals on her passive. We got Tormin, who will put a freeze on his passive if you take a buff. And then you got Sifi, who's going to heal if you got low turn meter on her passive, and cleanse Rotos. Rotos also has a passive. But here we go. Who's probably the lowest resist? I guess it doesn't really matter. Well, that kind of didn't work. We kind of needed them to stay alive. Okay, well, that was a showcase of how hard those damn champions hit. Let's come back to this team and see if it works a little better now that I have Arbiter on the team. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and place that block on Sifi. She should stay alive. No. Hopefully this one works. 3rd time's a charm? What do you think? So let's come in here, and I'm targeting that weak affinity, single target hit, which means it's automatically going to get to Ultimate Deathlight anyways. So there's the skill. He stayed alive. We go ahead on Harkin, target him, and because we killed him, the buffs didn't spread. So in theory, this works, but your champs can't hit as hard as mine do, because clearly these are the reasons why it's not working, because I just can't keep them alive long enough, because we're going to block passive and active skills. Typically it's a passive that reduces defense typically, or reduces damage received, whatever the case is. And then they go ahead and nuke through all of that. So, and I don't think these champions are slouches by no means. I don't think these battles are relatively easy. Let's see, are we going to be faster? Let's try again. This time, the one thing we got to worry about is a cleanse here. The good thing is they got some heals. So let's try again. Let's hope we can spread without killing. No. Okay. We didn't get the block passive out, but we did get something out. At least we could test something finally, provided... There we go. So we're able to then spread all those block skills. So for whatever reason, Brogni resisted the the block passive skills. So we couldn't spread it to everyone, but it's very clear that we were able to spread the block active. And then Harkin came in here, and since Brogni's quite tanky, was able to spread that. And now, quite frankly, everyone's using their A1 skill, and this fight becomes very easy. Yeah, I had to slow play it a little bit just to try to work it out, but Mithrala on a 3, previously 4 turn block active skills renders the team useless. Like, what is she going to do? She literally got nothing to do. They're just going to sit there, and I'm able to pick them off one by one by one. But you get the idea. So next time, if you have Harkin, hopefully you haven't fed her. I know she takes a lot of books. She's pretty darn good. And as you saw in that showcase, super hard hitter anyways, that the combination of the two with some support, you're pretty much a sure win. It's not going to work as well because you're not going to be able to spread, but because you're going to kill them so quickly, you just need to worry about cleansers or revivers or block active back to you. So if I went with this team, I can almost guarantee this basher is going to go and put all my skills on cooldown, at which point it's not really going to work as well. But it gives you some flexibility and some options to be creative down the road with some of these champions that are irresistible debuffed. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully you've tried it out. Harkin is worth the build. If you got no one else, absolutely. If you need a nuker, a hard hitting one at that, absolutely. She's just very squishy and very difficult to keep alive, but she is a hard hitting support champion if you think about it. Hopefully that helped. Catch you on the next video. Take care, everyone.